Bring Her Back opens with the abrupt and traumatic death of a family patriarch, found lifeless in his bathroom by his two children, Andy, a troubled 17-year-old, and his younger stepsister Piper, who has severe visual impairment. This event immediately cast the siblings into vulnerability and uncertainty. With their father gone and no immediate relatives able to take them, Andy desperately tries to keep custody of Piper, knowing her blindness makes her especially dependent on him. However, he's still a minor, and a social worker named Wendy has to find them a temporary home. Wendy places them with Laura, a seemingly warm and nurturing woman who claims to be a former social worker herself. Laura lives in a quiet suburban house with her own adopted son, Oliver, a strange, mostly mute child. At first, the home feels like a safe haven. But it doesn't take long for Andy and Piper to notice odd, unsettling details about Laura and her household. Oliver's behavior is unnerving. He stares blankly and does odd, unpredictable things that make the siblings uneasy. Early on, the film focuses on Andy's attempts to protect Piper, helping her navigate daily life and comforting her through their grief. Their bond is deeply emotional and touches on how trauma affects siblings who depend on each other. Laura, outwardly, is cheerful and nurturing. She cooks, laughs awkwardly, and makes comforting gestures that seem genuine at first glance. But subtle inconsistencies in her kindness begin to raise suspicion. Strange occurrences start to escalate. Objects are misplaced, eerie noises echo in empty hallways, and there are bizarre visual motifs, most notably circles and arcs, that recur throughout the house, suggesting occult symbolism. A growing thread in the story is the presence of old videotapes and ritualistic imagery that Laura watches in private. These VHS clips feature foreign ritualistic practices and are linked to the theme of death and resurrection. While Laura keeps insisting her intentions are good, Andy begins to see that her true focus isn't the well-being of the children, but rather her own unresolved grief. Laura reveals that she lost her own daughter, also visually impaired, under tragic circumstances. It becomes clear that Laura is attempting to use Piper as a vessel or conduit to bring her own daughter back. Her obsession with ritual and the occult steadily grows more unnerving and dangerous. Andy intensely questions Laura's motives. He notices psychological manipulation. Laura subtly undermines Andy's confidence, pressures him psychologically, and isolates Piper emotionally from him. Between the escalating supernatural elements, personal trauma, and mental deterioration, the film blurs the line between psychological horror and true occult menace. One of the most unsettling aspects is how much of the horror is internal, the character's anguish, and how much is external. Oliver, the adopted son, becomes a catalyst for fear and dread. His silent presence and eerie behavior create a sense of unpredictability, as if he's either influenced by what's happening or part of Laura's warped plan. Amid all these rising terrors, Andy tries to maintain control over the situation, seeking help from social services and attempting to assert his claim on Piper's custody. But Laura's manipulations and psychological warfare make these efforts harder. The film's climax intensifies as Laura's true plan unfolds. She intends to sacrifice everything to resurrect her daughter, even if that means harming Piper. Ritualistic sequences and disturbing imagery create a buildup of fear that goes beyond simple jump scares. In the pivotal confrontation, Laura attempts a final, desperate ritual involving Piper. It is in this moment that Piper, in sheer terror and survival instinct, cries out in a raw, heartbreaking way that disrupts Laura's focus. That emotional disruption gives Piper a chance to escape the ritual's grip. The scene underscores the idea that human emotion, especially love between siblings, can break through even the darkest of intentions. In the aftermath, authorities discover Laura in a delusional state in her pool, clutching the remains of her child. The horror concludes not with supernatural victory, but with the tragic collapse of a grief-stricken mind. Piper, profoundly affected by what she endured, is rescued and taken away by her coach. The ending leaves her emotional recovery open-ended, but there's a poignant moment as she hears a plane overhead, symbolizing that, in a metaphoric sense, cherished loved ones can come back through memory and love, if not in physical form. Ultimately, Bring Her Back isn't just about supernatural terror. It's a story about grief, the desperate human desire to undo loss, and how far someone might go in its pursuit. The horror lies as much in the psychological unraveling of its characters as in the eerie occult trappings that surround them.